Hello children, welcome to the online classes. In the previous session I explained you how the control and coordination are brought about in our body, isn't it? Today let's gather some more information regarding control and coordination. How the systems in our body, for example digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system or transport system, excretory system, reproductive system, how all these are functioning without any disturbance. During our sleep also they are going on working without any break. How these are working? I introduced you what are responsible for all these activities in our body that are going in inside or outside, internal organs as well as external organs. How do they respond to the stimuli? There are different stimuli in the surroundings. For example, the external organs that respond to the stimuli are especially the skin, the gustatory receptors in the skin, or the phonoreceptors in the ears, photoreceptors in the eyes, gustatory receptors in the on the tongue, and tactile receptors in the skin, isn't it? Tactile receptors skin, gustatory receptors tongue, phonoreceptors ear, photoreceptors eyes, olfactory receptors in the nose. All these receptors. What is a receptor? A receptor is nothing but a neuron which receives the external stimulus. It responds accordingly. Actually, when it gets stimulated, these receptors, when they receive the stimulus, they convert it into a nerve impulse. What are receptors? Nothing but the neurons which receive the stimulus. They convert it into nerve impulse. And one neuron is connected to the other neuron in our body. So, from the dendrites, the information passes on to the axon. From the axon to the next neurons, dendrites, it passes. In such a manner, the information or the nerve impulse, like an electric current, how it passes in the wire, in such a manner, the information passes on from the particular receptor or the receiving neuron to the brain. So, between the dendrites of one neuron and the nerve endings of another neuron, there is a small gap called synapse. In this synapse, there are neurotransmitters which stimulate the passage of nerve impulses from one neuron to another neuron. That's what I said yesterday. That's how there is a control and coordination. The brain sends back the message that you are listening so and so person's voice, or you are watching a beautiful scenery, you are watching a beautiful rose, like that, or you are your mother touched you, isn't it? There is a pain on your skin if anyone pricks you. All these stimuli are carried on to the brain in the form of nerve impulses through the neurons. Neuron is the unit of nervous system. There are thousands and thousands of neurons are there, I said. These neurons arise from brain and spinal cord. The brain gives out cranial nerves and spinal cord gives out spinal nerves. Nerves are spread all over the body and every muscle is connected to the nerve endings of these neurons. That is why the information is carried to the brain. Even though internal organs, they are not under our control, they are involuntary muscles, then also there is a connection between internal organ and the brain. The brain sends messages to the internal organs also. They work accordingly. There is a control, and also at the same time there is a coordination between the organ systems. If there is no control and coordination, any organism cannot survive successfully and it will become sick. If any organ system doesn't function properly, obviously we say that person is, or that organism is sick, isn't it? So here, regarding this control and coordination, I am telling always brain, brain, brain. But without the involvement of brain also, some actions go on. What are those called? They are called reflex actions. In reflex actions, the brain does not involve. Without any thinking, without any thought, instant or spontaneous actions our body exhibits, those are called reflex actions. For example, if you touch a hot object, immediately you will withdraw your hand. If no one will catch hold of it, catch hold of that hot object tightly. Everyone immediately we will withdraw our hand. And one more thing is, when anyone is going to slap you, you will go back. That is also a reflex action. When we are in a dark room, sudden light is there, automatically our eyes close. That is also a reflex action, spontaneous action without the involvement of the brain. But the thing is, here, when you touch a hot object, what happens is the sensory neuron, which is present in the sensory receptor, which is present in your skin of your hand, receives that stimulus, and immediately it sends that it converts it into nerve impulse, and it will be carried to the spinal cord, not to the brain. From the spinal cord, the message comes back through motor nerves. Sensory nerves takes that information in the form of nerve impulse to the spinal cord, and spinal cord sends back the information to that particular, withdraw your hand. Within fractions of second, it happens. So here there is no involvement of brain, and actions are also very, very spontaneous. These are called reflex actions. Understood? In a reflex action, sensory nerve, spinal cord and motor nerve. Sensory nerve carries the information from the particular receptor, whatever it is, either it is a nose, tongue, ears, eyes, skin, whatever it is, the information they take, sensory nerves, they take that information. Suppose closing of eyeball means the photoreceptors take the information to, not to the brain, to the spinal cord. Immediately, we will close our eyes without any thinking process, without the thought process. Without the thought process means what? There is no involvement of the brain. Is it clear? Actually, yesterday reflex arc I explained, but in that video afterwards I watched, the voice is not clear in the end. That is why I am again and again explaining. Don't think otherwise, children. So, in reflex action, the receptors whichever receive the information, they convert into nerve impulse and take it to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord, through motor nerves, spinal cord within fraction of seconds, it sends the message to that particular organ. So, we will immediately withdraw our hand. Coughing, sneezing, yawning, all these are reflex actions without the involvement of the brain. We do not think of yawning or sneezing or coughing. At a time we will cough. Suddenly we cough, we sneeze, isn't it? While sneezing or coughing or yawning, there is no involvement of the brain. Understood? These are the reflex actions. So coming to the brain. This is the structure of brain. Brain has three parts, three main parts. Forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. It is divided into three parts: forebrain or cerebrum, midbrain, cerebellum and hindbrain. Hindbrain is also a part of cerebrum, and this is medulla oblongata. The brain is covered within the brain box or cranium. It is also called skull, purre, isn't it? So, the brain is protected within the cranium, within a hard shell called cranium or brain box or skull. It always protects the brain from external shock. external any sort of stimuli. It protects the brain. Brain is divided into three main parts: cerebrum, cerebellum and hindbrain. Cerebrum, the front forebrain, cerebellum, midbrain, or hindbrain is the part of cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. So what is the function of cerebrum? Each cerebrum has two cerebral hemispheres. This side one, that side one. Two cerebral hemispheres together form cerebrum. This is the center of intelligence, thinking, hunger, feeling, emotions, touch, vision, listening. All the centers are associated here. Some are very great artists, very good dancers, singers. All these centers are in this forebrain. Some by birth they are artists. By birth they are dancers or musicians. Someone composes music. It is a skill. All these skills by birth they are present in the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the seat of intelligence. The forebrain or cerebrum is the seat of intelligence. There are different association centers for so many feelings, so many thought processes. Yes? So what are the different feelings? Feelings may be some emotions, happiness, sadness, anger. Isn't it? We feel different emotions are there for us. And intelligence, IQ levels are there. And there are different centers for arts also, dance, music, painting, pottery. All these are skill based arts. So these centers are present in the cerebrum. The thought, whatever we think, they are processed in the cerebrum, isn't it? So next is the cerebellum. Cerebellum, it involves in the involuntary actions of internal organs. The internal organs are under the control of the cerebellum. Cerebellum, it is the midbrain, and it controls the involuntary actions of the internal organs. Internal organs means heart, lungs, kidneys, stomach, intestine. All these, they continuously work without any disturbance, with coordination. All this is carried on by cerebellum. And this medulla oblongata, it balances our body. It is responsible for the posture and balance of our body. If medulla oblongata gets damaged, we cannot stand straight. We cannot balance our body. One will tumble down, fall down. So, medulla oblongata is responsible for the correct posture and also balance of the body. It maintains. This is about the brain. The brain has three main parts. Brain is protected by brain box or skull or cranium. The nerves that arise from the brain are called cranial nerves. The nerves that arise from the spinal cord are called spinal nerves. And the brain has three main parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. It is divided into three main parts. So cerebrum is the seat of intelligence, and different thinking processes are carried on by the cerebrum. And cerebellum is responsible for the for controlling and coordinating the involuntary actions of internal organs. And medulla oblongata is responsible for the correct posture and balance of our body. That is about control and coordination in our body. There are also hormones which act and control our organ systems. So that lesson is separate. Endocrine system lesson is there. There you can learn. And in the similar manner, plants, there also control and coordination is there. About plants, in plants there is no well developed nervous system. So hormones play a major role in the control and coordination of the plant life processes. For example, auxins. Auxins are the hormones that are present at the stem tip and the root tip. Stem tip always grows towards the sun. Positively phototropic. Positively phototropic means it always grows towards the sun. Root is always positively geotropic. That is why the stem tip and root tip grow in reverse directions. Stem tip grows upwards, root tip grows downwards towards the soil. Positively phototropic, positively geotropic. At the tip of the stem and at the tip of the root, auxins are present. They are the growth hormones that promote the growth of tips of the stem and root respectively. Next one, gibberellins. Gibberellins are responsible for the stem elongation. Stem grows laterally, isn't it? Sidewise. Width of the stem, length of the stem, cell elongation, stem elongation is inhibited by gibberellins. Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins. Cytokinins are responsible for cell elongation. And one more hormone is there, abscisic acid. It inhibits the growth of flowers, fruits, or leaves are shed. After the leaves become yellow, the trees shed their leaves. That is all carried on by this hormone, abscisic acid. So, four hormones, the major four hormones that take part in control and coordination of plants are auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, and abscisic acids. Auxins are present at the stem tip and root tip. They promote the growth of stem tip towards the sun and root tip towards the soil. And gibberellins are responsible for the stem elongation. Cytokinins are responsible for the cell division. They initiate the cell division. And finally, the abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is responsible for the initiation of buds, blossoming of flowers or shedding of leaves, etc. So, all these activities are controlled and coordinated by hormones in plants. So, today our topic control and coordination is completed. So, children, you prepare this lesson, read the lesson thoroughly from the textbook. In the next Google Meet class, I will ask you questions regarding this topic. Have a nice day, children.